So, hi there, everyone. Welcome back again to the YouTube channel where we basically try to make everything everything plain, everything, everything as in a way that kid understands. All right. Just you know, keep with us. Hang on, stand still, and of course, focus. All right. So what we have matching information. Number one. So another one is what do you have? We have kind of a multiple choice question, but here the problem is that we have to find two. Another one is one word only, summary completion. The the trick here, but not really actually a trick. The thing here, what you have to notice here is that it's like Aberystwyth with University. I don't know what is that. I probably since the question is at the very last, I'm just gonna navigate literally downside, and I already found it. I don't really see anything other than paragraph G. So, just because the summary completion sometimes comes in order, sometimes it doesn't. You have to make sure you know that. Sometimes it comes in order, and sometimes it doesn't. But this multiple choice questions comes in order. So we just have to navigate. It should be somewhere around paragraph F or somewhere in the paragraph E. Maybe in the paragraph H as well. Who knows? Even the G. We'll see that. So it just has to be somewhere around that. Before, after, or same part as the summer completion. We don't know that. We will just see. Anyway, now I'm not really gonna. I'm not. I don't usually read that, but for the sake of video, we will have to do. So mention of factors driving a renewed interest in natural medicinal compounds. Renewed interest means you had an interest, you lost it, and you came back again. So, how recent technological advances have made insect research easier. So, this is a technological advance. There has to be a mention about a particular technology that has made research easier. Examples of animals. So, examples of animals. Very obvious. You find a paragraph that mentions more than two or more than one animal. You probably that's going to be the answer. So, which use medicinal substances from nature. So that means animals that get some sort of medicine from nature. Pretty much, when we hear about when you hear the word nature, we understand it's about plants. The reason why it is challenging, meaning difficult, to use insects in drug research. Reference to how interest in drug research may benefit wildlife. A reason why nature-based medicines fell out of favor for a period. Fell out of favor for a period. The thing here is for a period means for a while. It didn't go for long. An example of an insect-derived medicine in use at the moment. At the moment, currently, nowadays, and so on and so forth. So now I don't want to read this. Just let's not waste time and just read through, okay? Um More drugs than you might think are derived from or inspired by compounds found in living things. Looking to nature for the soothing and curing of our ailments, soothing and curing of our ailments, sickness, ailments are sickness, and soothings are something that makes soothing means something that makes you calm. It's nothing new. We have been doing it for tens of thousands of years. You only have to look at other primates, such as the capuchin monkeys who rub themselves with toxin oozing millipedes to deter mosquitoes. So capuchin monkeys, they feed themselves. Pretty much that's how I kind of visualize. And deter mosquitoes. The word deter means to force someone not to do something. Or the chimpanzees who use nauseous forest plants to rid themselves of intestinal parasites to realize that our ancient ancestors too probably had a basic grasp of medicine. All right. This is some sort of a very interesting way of interesting way of saying that we had our ancestors had some sort of a very small knowledge about medicine, but the illustration here is using monkeys and chimpanzees. I don't know why, but we will see. So anyway, mention of factors driving your renewed interest. No, that's not it. How recent technological advances have made insect research easier. That's not that as well. Paragraph A. Paragraph A. What are you talking about? Examples of animals we choose medicinal substance from nature. From nature. I think examples of animals, pretty much what, as I said, chimpanzees and capuchin monkeys are two examples that use medicinal substances from nature. Of course, though, such as capuchin monkeys who rub themselves with toxin using millipedes to deter mosquitoes, or chimpanzees who use nauseous forest plants to rid themselves. Of course, that's very obvious. Examples of animals which use medicinal substances from nature. That's very obvious, and we have paragraph A already ready for us. Now, pharmaceutical science and chemistry built on these ancient foundations and perfected the extraction, characterization, modification, and testing of these natural products. Then, for a while, okay, there you go. You have the word. Then, for a while, modern pharmaceutical science moved its focus away from nature. So, moved its focus away from nature means fell out of favor for a period, and into a laboratory designing a chemical compound from scratch. The main cause of this shift is that although there are plenty of promising chemical compounds in nature, finding them is far from easy. Securing sufficient numbers of the organism in question, isolating and characterizing the compounds of interest, and producing large quantities of these compounds are all significant hurdles. So paragraph B is talking about the shift of their focus. So they were focusing for a while about to the they were focusing about medicinal compounds of nature. However, because of the hurdles, because of the difficulties that they were experiencing, they pretty much changed their focus. So, however, for this reason, you might think somehow that it is challenging to use insect and drug research, right? Challenging to use, but that's not the key point here. The key point here is that, however, maybe probably 19 because fell out of, so let's say a reason why nature-based medicines fell out of favor. However, 70 is saying that drug research here there's nothing that is really close to drug research, although there might be slight mentioning about that, but there's nothing really that is talking about how, or why it is difficult to use insects in drug research. It is only giving a reason why nature-based medicines fell out of favor. Fell out of favor means they shifted their focus, moved this focus away from the nature. And the main cause of this change is that although there are plenty of promising chemical compounds in nature, finding them is far from easy. So that means securing sufficient number of organisms in question, isolating and characterizing compounds of interest, producing large quantities of these compounds are still all significant difficulties. So therefore, to question number 19, we have as paragraph B. Now, moreover, laboratory-based drug discovery has achieved varying levels of success. Varying levels of success, different kinds of success. Something which has now prompted the development of new approaches, focusing once again on natural products. So focusing once again on natural products. You can see pretty much focusing once again means renewed interest. With the ability to mine genomes or genomes for useful compounds, it is now evident that we have barely scratched the surface of nature's molecular diversity. This realization, together with several looming health crises, such as antibiotic resistance, has put bioprospecting, the search for useful compounds in nature, firmly back on the map. Back on the map means renewed interest. That's it. There are two things that are mentioned about. Factors driving renewing interest in natural medicinal compounds. What are mention of the factors? Okay, so again, what are the factors? Factor number one is ability to mine genomes for useful compounds, and another one is several looming health crises. Antibiotic resistance has put bioprospecting the search for useful compounds in nature. So that means factors are these two, right? So pretty much nothing else to realize that it's difficult. So it's pretty much about let's say it's just pretty much talking about what was that about? That they changed the paragraph B is talking about that they changed its focus away from nature. Here it's saying that they returned it. So I mean that's pretty obvious, kind of self-explanatory, right? Now if we go for the paragraph D, insects are the undisputed masters of the terrestrial domain, where they occupy every. I think here it has to be they. Where they occupy every possible niche. Consequently, they have a bewildering area of interactions with other organisms. So bewildering means difficult numbers of interactions with other organisms, something which has driven the evolution of an enormous range of very interesting compounds for defensive and offensive purposes. Their remarkable diversity exceeds that of every other group of animals on the planet combined. Yet, even though insects are far and away the most diverse animals in existence, their potential as a source of therapeutic compounds is yet to be realized. So the thing here is that it's talking about the insects being a very undefeated masters of pretty much, let's say, the jungle, and also they also have a very difficult number of interactions with other organisms. So the word bewildering means to have many options that is hard to choose, right? So therefore, paragraph D is very paragraph D. However, let's see an example of insect-derived medicine is used at the moment. No. Benefiting wildlife, nothing about that. It is talking about the paragraph D is only about it is just pretty much describing about insects. How recent technological have made nothing close to that just yet. However, the huge number of individual insects in the world, the variety of substances insects have developed to protect themselves, and so on and so forth. No, nothing about that. Now let's go for the E. From the tiny proportions of insects that have been investigated, several promising compounds have been identified. For example, allophron, an antimicrobial compound produced by blowfly larvae, is used as an antiviral and anti-tumor agent in South Korea and Russia. The larvae of few other, I'm sorry for that. I don't know who's it. Oh, okay, that's a different person. The larvae of few other insect species are being investigated for the potent antimicrobial compounds they produce. Meanwhile, a compound from the venom of the wasp, Polybia polysta, has potential in cancer treatment. So it is just talking about a particular insect where they developed an antibiotics. So which is pretty much used to antiviral and anti-tumor agent in South Korea and Russia. So the larvae of a few other insect species are being investigated for the potent antimicrobial compounds. So paragraph E, very interesting. So the paragraph E has to be 20 at the moment, right? From the tiny proportion, for example, alpha-1. So let's say, for example, allophron, an antimicrobial compound produced by blowfly, is used as an antiviral and anti-tumor agent in South Korea and Russia. So is used as an is a kind of a perfect tense. Is like has been used. It has been using. South Korea and Russia has been using it since before, and still they are utilizing that larvae or something like that. So is used. So at the moment, right? Pretty easy to navigate. Now, let's go for the paragraph F. Why is it that insects have received relatively little attention in bioprospecting? Firstly, there are so many insects that without some manner of targeted approach, investigating this huge variety of species is a daunting task, is a boring task. No, I'm sorry, hard task. Secondly, insects are generally very small, and the glands inside them that secrete potentially useful compounds are smaller still. So secrete means to produce a liquid substance. So yeah, this can make it difficult to obtain sufficient quantities of the compound for subsequent testing. Thirdly, although we consider insects to be everywhere, the reality of this ubiquity is vast numbers of a few extremely common species. Many insect species are infrequently encountered and very difficult to rear in captivity, which again can leave us with insufficient material to work with. So these are the challenges. Now you can say that the paragraph 17 is question 17 is F. So reasons, the key reasons. Reason number 1, reason number 2, reason number 3. There you go. All right. Easy. Now, it's all taught. You just have to use the big picture. You just have to try to understand you're obtaining a very useful information. That's one day you might need it. All right. Now let's go for the paragraph G. However, Ross Piper and fellow zoologists at Aberystwyth University are using their expertise in something when undertaking bioprospecting with insects. They are especially interested in the compounds that insects produce to overpower and preserve their something. They are also interested in compounds which insects use to protect themselves from pathogenic bacteria and fungi found in their something. Piper hopes that these substances will be useful in the development of drugs such as something. All right. They are especially interested in the compounds. Well, my colleagues and I at Aberystwyth University in the UK have developed an approach in which we use our knowledge of ecology as a guide to target our efforts. So expertise means our knowledge. So ecology, when undertaken by prospecting with insects, they are especially interested. All right, the creatures that particularly interest us are the many insects that secrete powerful poison for subduing prey and keeping it fresh for future consumption. So they are especially interested in the compounds that produce overpower. Overpower means powerful. Preserve means keeping it fresh for future consumption. So preserve their prey. They are also interested in compounds which insects use to protect themselves from pathogenic bacteria and fungi found in their something. There are even more there are even more insects that are masters of exploring filthy habitats. They're masters of exploiting. I'm sorry, it's not exploring, but exploiting found in their habitats. There are even more insects that are masters of exploiting filthy habitats such as feces and sargasses. So habitats. Piper hopes that these substances will be useful in the development of drugs such as something. These insects have many antimicrobial compounds for dealing with pathogenic bacteria and fungi, suggesting that there's a certainly potential to find many compounds that can serve or inspire new antibiotics. Serve or inspire new, such as antibiotics. Now, here it is. I think we somehow paragraph G is somehow mentioning about following making insects interesting in drug research. Now, the huge number of individual insects in the world. I haven't read anything so far, but here it is saying that the variety of substances insects have developed to protect themselves. So to protect themselves, are you sure? There are even more insects that are masters exploding filthy blah blah blah, where they're regularly challenged by thousands of microorganisms. These insects have many antibiotic compounds for dealing with pathogenic bacteria. Dealing with means to protect themselves. The potential to extract and make use of insects' genetic codes suggests that there is certainly potential to find many compounds that can serve or inspire new antibiotics. Although natural history knowledge points us in the right direction, it doesn't solve the problems associated with obtaining useful compounds from insects. Fortunately, it is now possible to snip out the stretches of the insect's DNA that carry the codes for the interesting compounds that insert them into cell lines that allow large quantities to be produced. Paragraph 18. I think it's the technological ones. And although the road from isolating and characterizing compounds with desirable qualities to developing a commercial product is very long and full of pitfalls, the very variety of successful animal-derived pharmaceuticals on the market demonstrates there is a precedent here that is worth exploring. Paragraph 15, talking about age, technological advances, right? So insect that they carry out the codes. So it is now possible to snap the structures of the insect's DNA that carry the codes for the interesting compounds and insert them into cell lines that allow large quantities to be produced. Or blah blah blah, pitfalls, difficulties, and so on and so on and so forth. With every bit of wilderness and that disappears, we deprive ourselves of potential medicines. As much as I'd love to help develop a groundbreaking insect-derived medicine, my main motivation for looking at insects in this way is conservation, means to save. I sincerely believe that all species, however small and seemingly insignificant, have a right to exist for their own sake. If we can shine a light on the darker recesses of nature's medicine cabinet, exploring the useful chemistry of the most diverse animals on the planet, I believe we can make people think differently about the value of nature. Well, of course, value of nature and so on. Paragraph paragraph I is talking about 18. However, the similarities between we're still left with these two uneasy ones. The potential to extract and make use of insects' genetic codes. Okay, so which means it is now possible to snip out the stretches of the insect's DNA that carry the codes for the interesting compounds and insert them into cell lines that allow larger quantities to be produced. I don't know. I think that is B and C. Maybe I'm wrong. The similarities between different species of insects. There's no. They didn't talk about the similarities. I didn't see that. The manageable size of most. No, there's not manageable sizes. Have we finished? And yeah, we have pretty much finished, guys. Anyways, if you have any questions, I don't like this passage at all. I know they're saving bucks to find new drugs. Seriously, guys. Uh, although although it could be a little bit dull to understand this passage, it's worth reading. Honestly, yeah. So there you go, guys. We have finished passage 2 of test number 3. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, make sure to comment down below, and I will comment very prompt response. I'm always available. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to share, like, subscribe if you haven't, and because that helps a lot. And I do appreciate if you're supporting it. Yeah, once again, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.